So much cool things going on. All right. So I'm going to start us off with a prayer. So placing my hands on my heart, closing my eyes, and taking that deep cleansing breath of love and gratitude. Just resting in that heart space. So grateful for this opportunity to come together with these precious, precious souls. Grateful for our willingness to remain open hearted, open minded. Grateful for our desire to know that we are removing any and all blocks to love, that they are just disappearing like a vapor from our sight, from our mind. We're grateful for this beautiful community and the love and compassion and the wisdom that is shared here. We're grateful for all of the mighty companions, the earthly and heavenly helpers that join us each and every day. And as we come together, guiding us and blessing us, we're asking them to join us now to bless our conversation, to bless all those who are here now and all who may listen later. And we're grateful to share those blessings and the love that we are with Mother Earth and all humanity, because we are one. In grace and gratitude, we let it be. And so it is. Amen. So this was a short section, but I got so much out of it. I think where I would like to start us off is paragraph 3, where he says, "You share no evil dreams if you forgive the dreamer and perceive that he is not the dream he made. And so he cannot be a part of yours, from which you both are free. Forgiveness separates the dreamer from the evil dream and thus releases him. Remember, if you share an evil dream, you will believe you are the dream you share. And fearing it, you will not want to know your own identity because you think that it is fearful. And you will deny yourself and walk upon an alien ground from which your creator did not make, and where you seem to be a something you are not. You will make war upon yourself, which seems to be your enemy, and will attack your brother as part of what you hate. There is no compromise. You are yourself or an illusion. What can be between illusion and the truth? A middle ground where you can be a thing that is not you, must be a dream, and cannot be the truth." So I've been dealing with some really uncomfortable, painful, humiliating physical challenges for the last 10 months. And I had some clarity after reading this section today of how perfect it is that I'm experiencing this, and how perfect it is that some of the things that I am healing through this experience is the judgments and the animosities that I built up against the medical system and insurance companies and when I was dealing with my husband and my mom's illnesses, and the judgments that I held against them while they were ill. And so I'm forgiving myself for those judgments. And I'm also like really listening to guidance and trusting that I am doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. Because when I was first dealing with this, I felt like the doctor I was going to was not hearing me. And I placed all kinds of judgments on him, that he wasn't hearing me because I was a woman, that he wasn't hearing me because I was 60, that he wasn't hearing me because I'm overweight. And so I was placing the judgments that I was perceiving in him, that he was blaming me for the symptoms that I have been experiencing and not taking me seriously for those reasons. And that's still a possibility. But since we're one, they're my judgments, which is a fucking mind-blowing thing, because oh my gosh, I'm holding them against myself. And I've been coming to peace with the challenges that I've been having. And I got to read a post from one of my fellow spiritual counselors. And what she was experiencing was exactly what I have been experiencing, only she let it go for a long time, almost 2 years. And now she has to have chemotherapy every 8 weeks for this condition. And so I had a conversation with her yesterday, and I absolutely know within my core that that's what this physical appearance is. And I also know that I can reach out and do the whole magical medical thing, while letting go of my judgments of the doctors and the medicines and the insurance companies and everything else that I might have to deal with through this journey. And just look at it as an experience that I chose to have. What the hell was I thinking? But anyways, I did, right? And I'm really looking at it as an opportunity for me to heal the judgments coming from a more holistic health background. And really having those thoughts that, if I ate the right foods, if I did the right exercises, that I was not going to have to experience these things. And then placing those judgments that I had about that on other people, not in a conscious way, but those thoughts would pop up. So anyways, it's just kind of blowing my mind, these few short little paragraphs in this section today. And I'm going to embrace the whole experience and know that it's a learning opportunity for me, and that it's going to be something that I'm also going to be able to teach from as well. So anyways, that's where I'm starting us off. I'm radical trust, man. Radical trust. Yeah. So, Carla. You're still muted, honey.
All right. It's so interesting who we think we are. That I've realized we think, but really every thought is from, it's not a source of two places, ego or spirit or truth, whatever, illusion or truth or whatever, love or something else, right? And I used to think I was choosing this experience by my thinking, but I don't know that that's altogether true. You are choosing which thoughts to believe, and then life, love, the higher self, whatever you want to call it, God, whatever, gives you an experience to show you your thoughts, where you're choosing to go. It's you didn't, I don't know if you fully kind of created it by your thinking, because the higher self sees where you are in your mind and gives you exactly the experience you need. So I'll go into myself. So I'm in Colombia. They don't change time here. So the last, I think I was late once and I missed the last one. I thought I was going to be here on time, and this is very interesting. It's very, very interesting to me, because I knew in some part of my mind that Colombia doesn't change, and the world, the America, whatever, the rest of the world is changing. So I knew, yet I kept believing my mind that because the pattern was to be here at your 12 your time, but now 12 your time used to be 12 my time, and now it's all different. So it was very interesting. For 2 weeks it took me to get, it doesn't matter. Love, the higher self, whatever you want to call God, Holy Spirit, whatever, it's all one anyhow, meets us where we are, uses our life experiences. I mean, that's a bad way to put it, but to help us, to assist us to remember the truth. And I've done for like, 2, 3 years, I call it a radio time, but it's an internet half-hour sharing. And that was the basis. I didn't start out that way. I started out reading stuff, and I'd highlight and I would get real tense. Now I kind of just share for my life, because the thing is based on, look at your life, look at your own experiences. That is where your learning is. And you look at, and I used to, I'll share this one. I don't know, it doesn't seem appropriate, but I'm going to do it. What if me worrying about getting it, whatever it is, blocks its arrival? What if I just accept my life, myself, the creations? That is really self-love. And that is what I'm saying here. This experience it can support you in living more fully, is from self-love, Linda. Because if we are one, and self-love is all the love there is. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you so much. Who else would like to share from the reading or something else that they've experienced this week? Go ahead, Chris.
I didn't have the page we were on, but there was a sentence right in the middle where it talked about, well, maybe it was at the end, where it talked about, was it that there's one extreme and then there's the other? And if you're in the middle, was that a good thing or a bad thing? I didn't know. Do you have that, Linda?
Yeah, I think it is that last sentence. I highlighted it too. It says, look at the little gap and you behold the innocence and emptiness of sin that you will see within yourself when you have lost the fear of recognizing love. Yeah, and the sentence before says, yet in the gap is nothing, and there are no awesome secrets and no darkened tombs where terror rises from the bones of death. So I feel like he is basically saying there is no good or bad, that
Okay.
the space for us to live is in the gap between good and bad, between judging what is right and what is wrong, what is pink and what is purple, whatever. Are living from the gap between what is and our judgments of what is. That's my understanding of it. And that is where we can lose the fear and recognize the love.
Thank you. That helps. And I'll be thinking of you, Linda,
Thank
on
you.
your health journey. Yes.
I appreciate that. Thanks.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Kathy. And then
Yeah,
Kathleen.
I was listening to a guy recently. He's Spiro or something like that. I might have his name wrong. And he talks about. Well, I think he's really talking about the gap that we just were talking about. And he was working with a young man, and he was trying to help this young man feel the gap. And the young man would said, "Oh, well, I see the room, I see these objects." No. Let's see here, go back. And he did these little exercises. And finally the young man said, "Well, I don't have anything." He goes, That's it. And I don't know. Well, anyway, it reached me, and I meditate. So I've been off and on since my sister episode, because she did well during the visit, but apparently afterwards I didn't do well because whatever reason, I was all shook up and out of my groove. So then I was trying to get back to meditation. And in meditation, we sometimes have thousands of thoughts, which are release of stress. And doesn't mean you're having a bad meditation, but to you, it's like, oh, great, I'm sitting here going crazy. Where's the silence? Where's the whatever? And I just kept remembering what the man said about what we're talking about, the gap. Who can watch all those thoughts? Who can just be with all that and not get caught up, and not worry about it. And what I noticed, of course, is I try to get back in the groove, that every time I meditate, I'm a little more coherent afterwards. Not daring. Sometimes I'm kind of crazy. Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, thank you, Kathy. I have those moments too when I'm trying to meditate and it's like, yeah, it's just not happening. It's just not happening today. And sometimes I'll stop the meditation. I'll either go for a walk or I'll do some movement work. Yeah, sometimes I just get in my head too much, and when I'm trying just to sit in silence. So I can totally relate to that. And just loving on you as you're coming back from visiting your sister. I know how disorienting that can feel, seeing your loved one kind of slipping away. Yeah. Thank you. Kathleen.
Let's see. I was impressed by number 2. It's the sharing of evil dreams, hate, malice, that makes them real. So that I'm thinking, all right, so that means I don't want to talk about the war, or unless I'm saying, look at all the good that has come out of this conflict. because of so much good is coming out of it. Or I would say about my own body or illness, you know, that nothing. Because it's like, that's what makes it real, is sharing it. Unshared, they're perceived as meaningless. Fear is gone from them because you didn't give them your support. Where fear has gone, there love must come, because there are but these alternatives, love or fear. Where one appears, the other disappears. And which one you share becomes the only one you have. So I guess that it's a process of sharing only the good way of looking at everything. That's pretty trippy. You share no evil dreams if you forgive the dreamer. I am the dreamer. Sorry. So that just really struck me as important, to not share bad perceptions of things. And I was working in the garden about 4.5 hours on Monday, and I just kept telling myself, well, pain is an incorrect perception, pain's an incorrect perception. And my back was starting to really hurt, and I thought, oh geez, I'm not going to be able to move tomorrow. So I took some pain med and anti-spasmodics and stuff, and I feel great the next day. And then today I went out and did more gardening, and I just think that's really cool to be able to say pain's an incorrect perception. So is everything else, but particularly pain. You know, this isn't real. This is not real. So I can ho'oponopono it away. And sometimes it works really well. Sometimes it doesn't, but this week it did. And then I did have a 10-day visit with my sister. She was here, and it was great. We learned how to live together and had a wonderful time. She's a psychologist. She doesn't really believe in God a whole lot. She was willing to talk about the concepts in A Course in Miracles, but she's like, don't say A Course in Miracles. I don't want to hear it. Don't say A Course in Miracles. And I'm like, well, I'm feeling like I need to reference where I'm getting these ideas. I'm not thinking of them. So I've just pretty much dropped the whole Course in Miracles thing. And she's doing really well in her life, and she's got her own system of feeling better about things. It's working really well for her. So anyway, thanks for letting me share. It's good to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you here, Kathleen. Yeah, and I can, what I would say about the sharing of the evil dreams, I don't know, I feel like if you're having a hard time, it's okay to talk about it.
Huh.
And it's okay to discern who to talk about it with. Because, you know, some people, you can talk about something that's happening that's, you know, that you're not real thrilled about. And they're just going to go down that path of, oh my gosh, that's so horrible. I'm so sorry that you're experiencing that. But I know that if I'm talking to people who are holding the highest and best for me, and know that that's a possibility for everybody, that they're just going to keep holding, well, honey, you're just living in the dream, and that's okay. And I love you no matter how you're living in this moment and how you're feeling and thinking in this moment. So I feel like it kind of, for me anyways, and I might be completely wrong, but for me, it feels helpful to sometimes share what is happening, even if it is something that I am judging as not good, or I am resisting experiencing, because it's in the sharing of it that I'm taking my power back from it. But again, I have to be like, who am I sharing it with? Yeah. Thank you, Kathleen. Chris, and then Catherine, and then Derwin, and then Linda Kay.
Well, you just talked about my question about not sharing. You know, again, I'm just going to say bad. I know that's nothing's good or bad, but and it just really brings up for me not sharing gossip not sharing, oh, guess what happened to her or him, or, oh, somebody's having, so that's so powerful to me that, this little discussion, because it's a challenge, and I'm up for the challenge, and I'm not up for it to be like I'm better than you, just up for it to be, why am I talking? And remembering that, because you're right, we're all one. So whatever I'm saying, the other person or everyone else is hearing or saying. So, and I appreciate what you said, Kathleen. That really impacted me. So, thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Catherine.
Always have to find the mute button. There's just a lot of things that are swirling a little bit for me. So I appreciate continuing to do this reading and our sharing, because in a way, if I'm a good observer of what is, I'm in this dream. I'm in this dream. And so if I can just be this observer of all of us sharing and say, and just welcome it. I'm trying to be in that place of welcoming. And I've been reading Ken Wapnick's little book on ending our escape from love. And so it just sort of hits, because he talks about resistance. And resistance is not an entity or a thing. It's the end product of our wanting. And so if I can just be an observer of that, say, why am I in this place right now? And why is a rhetorical question of wanting, but just to be aware. And he says, be aware. It means be aware of the thought that says, I'm too afraid of the truth. So I'm going to keep this wall up. I'm going to be separate from God. And he went on, there was another little thing. It just so seemed to fit with this. Do not try to fix yourself, Jesus tells us, for that need to fix ourselves is the problem. A Course in Miracles is not a fixer. It is helping us to become aware, which is what I appreciate about these opportunities. We're in this room. We're trying to be the best observers we know how to be. And truly, there is some, it takes some, I hate to use the word effort or work, but it doesn't take ourselves. We need to be in that place of even wanting to look and facing off that fear that we have, because fear is just a resistance. And if we could just welcome that in, knowing full well, we will not be hurt. We will not be damaged. We are here to look, to be an observer, to just breathe and just kind of welcome in this opportunity to see differently. Yeah, well, I don't know why this is so scary. Maybe one day we'll all come to that. Why does this feel so scary to us? Because we're just looking to find our highest and best, our truth that is in there, and that we still keep wanting to kind of beat ourselves up. So I'm with you, whoever said, I'm doing that whole Ho'oponopono prayer every day. I sometimes maybe not even realize what I need to forgive, but I'm holding it for myself. Because if I don't hold it for myself and accept it, how in the world can I see and hold peace for all humanity? So anyway, that's my little bit of insight that I'm having.
Yes. Thank you, Kathleen or Catherine. Derwin.
Whoops. My laptop almost fell. Good afternoon, everybody. Greetings from the Netherlands. I thank you all for sharing. It's so helpful, because when I read the chapter, my ego thought, skip today, because I didn't get it. Skip today. But sitting here, hearing you share, it gets more clear, and at least I think so. What I wanted to share was also related to paragraph 2, where I strongly felt that the evil dreams is also me holding on to my victim role, victimization. And these last, I don't know, time is an illusion, of course. I don't know for how long now I've been working on codependency aspects. And I have that especially with women. I have that with my mom. I have that with my boss. I have that with my elderly sister. And especially with my sister, I had a long grudge for almost 13 years. It wasn't until last year in a radical forgiveness session that I managed to come to a place where I could separate what she did as a human, and that I could easily, immediately forgive, from where I had an expectation of her, and her failing my expectation has led to 13 years a grudge, and me still, feeling in a very victimized role. And I remember that each time I was thinking about it, talking about it with my friends, or even with family members, I felt like I was sharing the evil dream, and it didn't felt good. But I also felt like, just like Linda, that sometimes you want to like, it comes up, the evil dreams come up. And now I realize that they come up for healing. And so that is what I kept thinking in the second paragraph, especially when I heard as well, you guys share about it. Letting go of that victim role is letting go of that evil dream for me. And I liked the gap. I don't know why, and I don't know even if it's right or wrong, but that gap. And yet the gap is nothing, it says. So talking about it, I feel that the gap is indeed where the transition goes to the illusion, right? Where the transition goes to the evil dream. So the gap is also the opportunity for the correction, the opportunity for changing. If we can just stop ourselves there and think and pause. And I remember when I first came to this community last year, after participating in the End Myself Sabotage course, I felt a strong silver lining. So that silver lining if you're in darkness. And can I turn it around? So rather than seeing the evil dream and a gap as something that I need to correct, because otherwise I'm going into the evil dream, can I see it as the silver lining in this is the correction? In a way, it makes me happy to see it like that, or to interpret it like that. I don't know if I'm correct or not. Leave me in my dream if I'm not. But that's what I wanted to share. So thank you for having this group. And I thank myself as well for the willingness to show up. And then it gets more and more clear. Thank you all.
Thank you, Derwin. And thank you for not listening to that part of you that was like, yeah, I didn't get this one. I'm just not going to go. Because, oh my gosh, I can so relate to that. So kudos. It takes courage to show up, even when you're just like, I don't know what the heck this is all about. So thank you. Linda Kay, and then Kathleen, and then Nancy Gale.
Linda, I really resonated with what you shared in the beginning. You know, the feelings we have towards doctors and them being dismissive of us, the entire medical system, all our healthcare. I have been there, and when I get on a phone call with my healthcare provider, I really have to pray before I get on the call. And I ask I asked Spirit to, to open my heart and open my mind, and to remove the blockages or the resistance, because I have a lot of anger over the process of, let's just overbill every client we have, every customer we have. And this is standard protocol within the business. And that makes me very angry. So that means I have to look at my bill 1 time, 3 times, 4 times to try and figure out where I have been overcharged. And I mean, that's just one little tiny example, and I'm sure other people can relate to it. But I think for anyone, it's difficult when we have a physical ailment that isn't exactly understood. We're afraid, we're not sure how to handle it. We don't like what's happening to our body. You talk to some friends about it, but they don't really know or understand. So I really related to that. And I do think I loved what you said, it's okay to talk about it, but perhaps with some discernment. And I wanted to share a little miracle that happened last night. It's really not a little one. It was a huge aha for me. I was tasked with calling 12 people who I did not know. I didn't even know the name of the person I was dialing. I was just given 12 phone numbers. You're going to call them and you're going to ask them, some financial guidance. And so I did leave a message for someone, and she called me back, and she immediately dove into a spiritual conversation. She did not get into the nitty-gritties about the finances. She had comments to make on the subject, but that wasn't the route she wanted to take. She wanted me to understand about trusting, surrendering, believing, as far as our God as we know God, to help us and guide us. And we then, I was explaining kind of what had happened, and with myself and my businesses and my marriage and my finances, and I had mentioned about my challenges with bipolar, kind of unraveling all of my numbers. And it turns out she had been married to someone who was bipolar. So go figure. She was married and divorced, and he killed himself. So she had a different experience than perhaps most people have, but it's something that was really good for me to hear, oh my God, he killed himself. Wow. Yeah, I don't want to end up there. I thought I would have many times, but not anymore. So I told her, I'm learning to not stay in this story that I'm in. And the only challenge is when I'm talking to the credit card companies, I have to repeat this story over and over and over. I'm sobbing on the phone. I'm completely unraveled. I go into an episode because it's like like throwing it up and eating it and throwing it up again. And very unhealthy. And so I was telling her, I said, I'm thinking of it more as Linda, not Linda bipolar label, but Linda, the person who has a lifetime of operating in extremes. This is what I have learned my whole life. And it was supposedly validated with a diagnosis. Doesn't even matter. All that matters is the story is extreme about this, extreme about that, extreme, extreme, extreme. And she said somehow the way I had said it made her think of something. She said, okay, think of you've got extreme and extreme, and that the middle way, the middle ground, all this is that your neural pathways have not been sufficiently developed. Oh my God, what a way to think about it. That's why this extreme feels so normal to me, but it looks very extreme to others watching me. Why is she cleaning for 17 hours straight? Nobody cleans for 17. What are you cleaning for 17 hours straight? How could you possibly be cleaning these rugs on your hands and knees at 10:30 at night, and then you still have to set up fans to dry them, and like that looks extreme to other people. To me, it doesn't. It just means I'm getting the job done, because I live in the extremes. But I just love the thought of, like, as Amanda had told me, she said, like, work on dropping the story unless you need the story for a reason. Like, might be a spiritual conversation. You need to have that story. But she said, drop the story. And now I can work on just thinking, oh, I just have to exercise my middle ground neural pathways. They simply haven't had exercise. And as an athlete, like, that's the perfect analogy for me. Like, they're little muscles in my head, and I get to work them out and get them strong. And so that may not seem like much to someone else, but for someone who's been working in my challenge for many years, this is groundbreaking, utterly groundbreaking. So I am sharing it with you because it is a miracle, not so much a win, but it really is a miracle in my life, coming from a very unexpected way. Hi, I'm calling you about finances and credit cards, and could you please share your experience with me? Let me talk about neural pathways. It was so beautiful. So I appreciate everyone's shares. I really learn from every single person every time they're sharing, and I'm busy writing notes of all your comments, and they're just so helpful. So thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Linda. Sounds like a God appointment to me, that conversation. Absolutely. Kathleen.
I think I forgot what I was going to say. So, I just had a vision of when I was doing that reading about sharing of the evil dreams, like don't share the evil dreams. I just had this vision of people meditating all over the world, or people who are ready to let go of the dream, like more ready than I am. I still think it's pretty cool here. I like to go dancing and drumming and raise butterflies and all that. But I think if you're truly pretty darn ready to not reincarnate again, not do this again, there is a sense that none of it is real, and you don't really need to go on and on about the war or whatever. So I just had this beautiful sense of people meditating around the world. That's, I guess, what I was going to share.
Yeah, thank you, Kathleen. Yeah, it's like a helpful way of sharing about the ills of the world or the war. Like you said, sharing what good is coming from it. Exactly. Nancy Gale.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay? Okay, thanks. One prayer request is Thursday. I'm having a procedure. It's like they have to put me to sleep and stuff. So, and your prayers worked for, last week. It was cool. Anyways, here's my take on this. I jumped from, the way I was brought up, et cetera, et cetera. There was a word God, there was a word Jesus, et cetera. In the church, when we got home and the rest of life experience, they didn't exist. I never heard them or anything except Christmas time or Easter time. Well, anyway, so that's the sum of what I knew about those. In this section, I'm just going to read the. There's one idea that sums up all of this whole section from one of the things that I explored a few years ago. The whole idea was basically the same as the course. When you pray, you spend time, you meditate or whatever. You like if you want to, like people would say, pray for this person. All you did was say the name of the person. You did not explain what the problem was or what the perceived problem was or anything. And then you sat and meditated for 10 minutes or something, or 20 minutes or whatever it was. And it was like you were waiting, disallowing, they called it the Heilstrom. It's a German thing. The divine flow of love to pass through the whole group. That was it. I don't know if you call it faith healing or something like that, but the whole idea is what you don't focus on the problem. You just allow God, the divine, to do the healing, to flow through everyone. And the healing will happen, but it's and no, there's no laying on of hands, no touching, no nothing of that. That's all there is to the whole thing. And it's okay. So here's what I picked out. It says in the first paragraph, it says, God is the alternate to dreams of fear. Okay, well, there's more. Okay, now back to paragraph 2 in its first sentence. It is the sharing of the evil dreams that makes them real. Now, and I was listening, and it's like, and I'm like a word person, and the Latin and a whole bit. Sharing, it came to me as sharing means you can say it, it's different. It's a sharing I wrote down my definition or explanation. Joining in the believing. If you look at sharing meaning that, it's like you're listening to a person or say, like you said, the first person is like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. You're believing that. That's the sharing. And then that's what makes them real. Then the next sentence, 2, unshared, they're perceived as meaningless. The fear is gone from them because you did not give them your support. Where fear is gone, love must be, because there are only these 2 alternatives. Where one appears, the other disappears. You can only have one thought in your mind at a time. And whichever one you share becomes the only one you have. You have the one that you accept because it's the only one you wish to have. And then 3, you share no evil dreams if you forgive the dreamer and perceive that he's not the dream he made. He's the dreamer, not the dream. So the dream is the whatever problem or whatever that's the dream. So you separate, you forgive him. In other words, you release the dreamer from the dream he made. So he can't be part of yours. Okay, whatever. Forgiveness separates the dreamer from the evil dream and thus releases him. Remember, if you share an evil dream, you will believe you're the dream. You are the dream you share. The same thing. I'm going down to 4. You have conceived a little gap. In other words, you made or Jesus is talking to us. You've conceived a little gap between illusions and the truth, where to be the place where your safety lies, where yourself, your real self, is safely hidden by what you have made, etc., etc. And 5, what is there that God created that can be sick? What is there God created to be sick? Okay, then over on the next page in 6, in the middle, there is no gap that separates the truth from dreams and illusions. Truth has left no room for them, any place or time. For truth fills every place and every time and makes them wholly indivisible. You can't divide them. You who believe there's a little gap between you and your brother don't see that it's here you're the prisoners in a world perceived to be existing here. The world you see doesn't exist because the place where you perceive it isn't real. Down to 4. Yet in the gap, there is nothing. There are no awesome secrets or no darkened tombs where terror rises from the bones of death. Look at the little gap, and you would behold the innocence and emptiness of sin that you will see within yourself when you've lost the fear of recognizing love. I mean, that it's like, oh my gosh. It's like, once again, it's like the truth. I keep coming back. It's like, Jesus is talking to me. He's talking to us. I just put it in the personal. It's like, he's telling me this is here. I'm telling you the truth. Listen to me. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Nancy Gale. Kathy, go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick request for anybody else that might want to talk about this. I felt there was some shifting about the word gap, and maybe what I was thinking of gap and what the paragraph was saying for gap and different adjectives. And I tried not to get too caught up in it because, you know, so the last sentence kind of recovered it, I think, where it was saying, it said something positive again about the gap. That the nothingness of sin was its innocence. And if you went into the nothingness, you would feel the love because you weren't filling with fear. So it kind of circled around back to where the gap could be a bridge to bring you to love. So it was kind of interesting. Anybody else want to comment on?
Yeah, thank you for that, Kathy. Yeah, the gap, it absolutely felt like a bridge. Absolutely felt like a bridge. And what I'm feeling in the bridge of my experience that I talked about at the very beginning is I'm also, with this experience, having the opportunity to have more healing with my mom, because as I am having these symptoms coming up, I am realizing that she dealt with these same symptoms and never talked about it. So again, that's where the thing about the sharing, you know, you share no evil dreams. Like, if she would have shared what she was going through, that would have been really helpful for me because then I would have recognized it immediately and gone, oh, I just need to go to the doctor and take care of this, this, and this, or whatever. And I can forgive it, and I don't have to, you know, put all this meaning around it and have this, you know, long drawn out period of whatever. But yeah, the gap is where I can have the experience and realize that it's an opportunity for me to love myself because I am realizing that my mother was dealing with these same things, you know, 20, 30 years ago. And holy cow, I can't believe that she functioned as much as she did. You know, so it's so many different healing opportunities if we are willing to rest in that gap space and not judge things as good or bad. Just like allow the unraveling awareness to happen. Yeah. Carla, go ahead.
This is really interesting. I don't know what was shared, but I feel prompted to read a poem, and my mind takes over. It's telling me, you know, oh, you did this and that, and here's the truth. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know if something I read will touch somebody or me, or we're just spirit having a human experience, and I'm practicing that. So I'm going to read it. It's called I Maybe. I've been called many things by others, by the ego self, too intense, melodramatic, angry, lovable, lost, sad, forthright, unbearable, archaic, talented, crazy, dependable, inconsistent. Maybe I am at times. I accept myself and my choices. I accept it all. And I embrace every aspect of self. So I may be, or I may just be bringing those judgments that are hidden deep within your mind to the surface, to the light, to be seen and released and healed in the releasing. So I may be the catalyst for your healing, the catalyst for my healing. So I may be. And if that is what I need to be, I will be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Carla. Perfect. Perfect. We may be in the gap. So for next week, we're going to continue in chapter 28, section 6, the secret vows. So looking forward to that. And I'm going to read my Pathways of Light insights for my lesson today, which is number 88, one of our reviews of The Light Has Come, and I am under no laws but God's. Today's lesson helps me distinguish between the real and the unreal. This lesson helps me let go of the arrogance of the ego and thinking that it knows anything or that its laws are real. This lesson helps me recognize where I need help in changing my mind. I obviously need practice in this. I have believed that the effects of the ego thought system were real. And because of this, I have felt limited and alone. I have felt separated from God. Today's lesson reminds me that it is over. The light has come. As I am willing, the light is all there is to see because the light is all that is there. Forms of separation are illusions. I really am under no laws but God's, because if it is not of God, it is not real and does not exist. Today's lesson is a very important lesson for me to practice. Because I am part of God, I am only under God's laws. I am willing to look today at the thoughts in my mind that try to deny God's laws. I am willing to look today at what is really there. The light has come. It is only my holding on to false ideas that brings me the effect of seeing something else. Let me allow God's laws to work in each project I work on today and not my own. I would step back and follow and let go of the idea that I know anything on my own. I would open my mind to love's comfort and support. I would not reject God today. This is my practice for today. The ego makes up a million stories that seem to make its thought system appear real. The stories all revolve around the body, what it can do, what it cannot do, what can happen to it. The body appears to be vulnerable and needs constant protection. Associated with the body is a personality, being an extension of the idea of a separate identity. Like the body, this personality is vulnerable and needs constant protection. One or two words can bring intense pain to this personality identity. A few other words can seem to bring it to heights of happiness. But consistency is unknown to this identity. All this is characteristic of the stories of the ego thought system. It is characteristic of the ego's made-up laws. The laws themselves are inconsistent, for they seem to apply in some situations and not others. Believing in this unreliable, capricious, and constantly changing system of laws brings great stress. There can be no certainty here. accepting that the light has come and there is in reality nothing else. To choose brings the end of the stress that comes with uncertainty. The light is certain and unchanging because the light is God, love. The light is all there is. And because it is God, only his laws prevail in this light. The instability of the ego thought system is inevitable because it is all illusion. Illusion by its nature cannot be stable. If I choose the illusion of the ego, I choose an unstable, unreliable world. If I choose the consistency of the light, I choose the safety and peace of God. My prayer today is, Holy Spirit, help me to recognize the illusions of the ego thought systems for what they are. I am willing to let the light replace the darkness I have made up. I am willing to be under no laws but God's. I am willing to be love and nothing else. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you, Linda.
Welcome. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Linda.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
You're
Have a
Linda,
beautiful week,
Thank you.
everybody.
May I ask a quick
Excellent.
question in case
Yes.
you know? Um,
Let
Is
me stop the
Venerable
recording.
today? Or do you know when she